Today we're grilling Pollo Asado. Pollo Asado is one of mine and Terry's all-time favorite food to eat. We cook some every week. As a matter of fact, I don't know anyone who doesn't love a perfectly cooked Pollo Asado. In this video, we're going to show you how most restaurants cook it and my favorite way to cook it in the backyard. We're going to spatchcock two birds, one with and one without the backbone, and we're also going to split one bird in half, which is the traditional Texas-style Pollo Asado. Now here's a pro tip. The secret to perfect cooking is fire control, especially in open fire cooking. And the second pro tip, always use a meat thermometer for perfect juicy chicken. Don't listen to those keyboard haters that say they don't need a meat thermometer for perfect cooking. The reason they're typing is because they're still chewing their overcooked, dried out chicken. As long as you have a good recipe, good cooking technique, and fire, your family and your friends will love your barbecue. Now let's get fired up and grill some Pollo Asado. The way we traditionally do it here in South Texas, we'll take a whole chicken, we'll split it right down the middle. Now I usually do it with a big knife like this, and what I usually do is I split it right along the backbone, and then I split the other side of the backbone, and I'll usually split the backbone. We'll put it in a Ziploc bag and make us some chicken stock or chicken broth out of that. Another thing I like to do is trim the excess skin, like this front part. When you're grilling chicken over open fire, like we're gonna show you guys today, too much grease is gonna create more fire. Fire is good, it creates heat. But if you have too much grease, you're gonna get a sooty color on your chicken from too much oil burning off in the fire. Most of these chickens have a big blob of fat right here. I like to trim that off as well. And you just scrape it off like that. See, that's about a whole tablespoon of fat right there. Get rid of that. There's a little bone sticking out here. I believe it's the wishbone. I like to go in here and trim that off too. So now we have two good looking chicken halves. One of them has the keel bone, what they call the keel bone, still here. This is generally going to be a little bit juicier than this one that does not have the protection of the keel bone. But generally, if you cook it right, it's still going to be very juicy and very moist. They say the chicken's ready when you can twist the drumstick all the way around and it comes loose. But I'm going to tell you, in order for that to work, you have to have that fire at the perfect temperature. Every pit's different, so 300 in yours may not be the same 300 as mine. 250 is, in my opinion, probably the ideal temperature. If you're cooking at 300 plus, that chicken's gonna be way done long before you can twist this leg. Now there's a couple of different ways you can spatchcock a chicken, okay? You can use a knife and just cut the backbone out. You gotta mark it on both sides. You can use your knife. If you have a good sharp knife, you can just cut right down the middle, just like that. Now, if you'd rather, you can also use the scissors like these right here. Now, if you're gonna smoke your chickens, whether it's low and slow or at a hot temperature, if you're not over direct fire, you can leave that fat on there and it will help add a little flavor and a little moisture to the chicken, in my opinion. People like to split that right there just a little bit, just to flatten this chicken out. Some people like to remove this keel bone completely out of the chicken. I do not. I like to leave it on. That little extra cartilage there will protect the chicken and you'll have a more moist bird, in my opinion. This is probably the most traditional way that most people know as a spatchcock chicken. Now here's another way that I see very common, particularly more toward the West Coast, where they will split the chicken in half. I'm gonna use the scissors this time just for the sake of example. I'm a knife guy. Okay, split the chicken in half. Press it down. Again, get rid of any excess fat. Friend, this is another way to spatchcock chicken, leaving the backbone in. So you're really not leaving anything out except some of that excess fat. But once again, you see here, one side has the keel bone, the other side does not. Generally, if you cook it at the right temperature, the whole bird's gonna be pretty nice and pretty moist. All right, we're gonna do another one just like that. For me, maybe it's because I've done this so much, it's just so much easier with a knife. Mark it first, go down through the breast till you hit the keel bone, give it a nice pop like that, and you're done. If I have a little excess keel bone here, like here, I do like to cut that off. It does allow the chicken to lay down a little bit flatter. So just to put these two style of birds side by side, one spatchcocked bird has a backbone in it and the other does not. I very rarely use veggie oil for anything. I would much rather prefer to use olive oil. a little healthier for you, and I like the taste. And so we're gonna use this as a little bit of a binder. We're gonna use the American Pitmaster Company Wow. Just a nice healthy little shake. Doesn't need to be super heavy, just a nice little coat like that. Pat it down a little bit. Let's do the other side. Now, if you season a little more generously on the skin, you will definitely penetrate with the salt in the rub and add some really great flavor to those chickens. Make sure you get under the wings. Those need a little rub too. For a little added color and a little more wow is just plain old smoked paprika. Okay, we've got these done, and we have some more chickens to season here. And I'm gonna use OG on these two chicken halves. We're gonna put some of this salt, pepper, garlic. That's all we have on here. We have our chickens all seasoned up. We are ready to go to the grill. We're gonna start with lump charcoal. We're gonna throw a few chunks of wood. Today I'm gonna have some pecan wood and probably a little bit of mesquite also. All right, we're gonna start with these two spatchcock birds, bone side down. Right here. We're gonna put the other spatchcock chicken right here. And our two chicken halves back here in the back. There we go. Ooh, that sure sounds good. That sizzle is music to my ears. Let's cook some pollo asado. One of the secrets to getting some beautiful pollo asado without burning it is, as y'all know, the flippity flip. When you have too much fire or when the fire's really hot, you do have to flip several times to get the beautiful color you're looking at here on both sides of the pollo asado. You also need to be able to read your fire. If you can see right here, it's not quite as much color or char over on the front side of this chicken. So a little bit later, we're gonna actually rotate it 180 degrees on the next flip. So that way we get even cooking all the way across on the entire birds. We're gonna go ahead and flip this one too. There you go. And generally, when you're cooking pollo asados this style, it's gonna be a hot and fast cook. These should be done in about 35 or 40 minutes. It was 10 minutes when we did the first flip. Also on the bottom, I rotated them 180 degrees a minute ago. We had a little too much fire, which happens when you're doing open fire. You got to start with a little extra. When you have a really hot fire, you have to do the flippity flip. Sometimes you got to move stuff around because it's too hot. Started with a really hot fire. I don't cook like this all the time, but I do know how to run a fire. And I am smart enough also to know that I need a dual zone temperature section, and that's why I chose to cook on this big javelin pit, because I can move my chickens over. It's still very hot here. I can feel the heat, but it's not as hot as right over the coals over here. So I flipped these two. I'm gonna flip this one more time. We want nice, even cooking. You wanna grab it from the side there, otherwise it might fall apart on you. There we go, all right. Now what we'll do in a little bit, we're gonna swap like this as well. That way everything cooks nice and even. We'll give it about 10 more minutes here, and we'll be back to do another flip and a rotation as well. I'm adding some of these Pro Pit char logs because these light up pretty quick. They burn a long time. They add a great flavor. They're made out of mesquite, and they don't create a lot of smoke or any kind of off flavor either. All right, now it's been about 25 minutes and our fire has tamed way down so we can continue to get the meat over here closer to the fire. Another great way to manipulate pollos asados, because they'll have a tendency to fall apart, is with one of these restaurant style spatulas. You just flip it just like that, just like that. All right. Whew, definitely still have a lot of fire there. Pretty hot. So I'm gonna move these over here for just a little while, and I'm going to flip this one too, that way. Now if you have a perfect fire, you can leave stuff on there a lot longer, maybe flip it once or twice only. But we're sitting at about 58, 60 degrees right now. We're cooking on an open pit, so there's cold air coming in like this, trying to cool the meat off from the top while we have heat on the bottom. The only way you're gonna get things done is to flip them a few times in a situation like this. When you have an open fire pit like this, that fire burns out quick. Even if it is lump charcoal, it's gone pretty quick. And that's why I'm adding these char logs a little at a time. All right, we still got some pretty good heat here, so I'm gonna flip these chickens right here. You can see where it's really sizzling and cooking. We're gonna rotate this one and flip it. And whoa. That was a save. All right, friends, y'all know that I like perfection when it comes to cooking meats. So we have our trusty thermometer, and we're checking this bird right here. We're looking at 167, 163 on that side. Whew, that smoke. 157. This one's not quite there. This one's done, so we're gonna go ahead and pull this chicken out. We're gonna go ahead and pull the others in about 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll see you guys back inside. We have our pollo asado done. What you wanna do is cook it the way you like. Whatever works better for you, that's the way you wanna do it. All right, now we did have one little blowout on this one. We cut the backbone out, so sometimes there's nothing to hold this leg in place. You know, you have a very tiny little connection of bone and cartilage here. That one fell off. This one was ready to come off too. The only thing holding it was the skin, as you can see there. Ooh, see how that's starting to want to come apart too? That's a perfectly cooked bird, my friends. A lot of your restaurants will use a cleaver like this, and they'll go ahead and split it in half and cut it like that and like that. Might even cut the breast in half like that. That's just one way you can do it. Ooh, that's moist. You can see it's steaming hot. It's dripping with juices. That's a good chicken, friends. I also like to cut the thigh right here. Basically, you can get 8 pieces out of one whole chicken, 4 per side. So we need to cut this breast right here, right along. This is the way the fried chicken places do it. Usually you get the wing along with some of the breast. I don't know. I can't stand this anymore. I have to give it a taste. Skin and all. Ah, some good bird. All right, now this is the one that had the backbone cut out of it. You want to just go ahead and split the breast in half. Split the breast in half here. And as you can see, this thing's super moist also. Now another way you can slice the breast, a lot of times what I like to do is take the wing off. I'll slice the breast lengthwise, like this. So you have some nice, good slices you can put on a sandwich, and a taco, anywhere you want. That's so moist, look at that. That's super, super moist. All right.
Make a plate in a little bit.
I got a bum knee today, so I'm not dancing too much. This is the traditional South Texas pollo asado. It's a whole half a chicken. Got a nice, pretty char underneath. Pretty color on the outside. Now this is the one that we seasoned with OG. I like to take the wing off myself and leave the drum on there. I like to separate here. When you go buy pollo asado at a local place here in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas, they actually serve you the whole half a chicken like that. Some places will cut it up for you, like that. So you can do it that way. There's a breast with 3 pieces. There's a drumstick and a thigh. And as I said earlier, you can always cut the thigh in 2. All right, my friend, we have our plate served. This is the way we would normally serve it at our house or for a catering. A little bit of rice and beans, chicken wing, chicken breast, a little piece of chicken thigh and a drumstick. All right, let's take a bite of this breast. This looks really good. It's super moist too. Very, very juicy, very moist. Wowza. Super delicious. Not too hot. Maybe it is. You're gonna see me start to sweat. At first I thought it wasn't hot, but it was hotter than I thought. A little bit of beans, a little bit of rice. Most excellent. Whoo! That serrano's hot. It's burned all the way up and all the way to right here. That's good stuff. Time to cool it off. My favorite piece. We're gonna put a little bit of rice and beans in here. We're gonna take a little piece of chicken from this thigh here. We're gonna put that in there, skin and all. It's all protein, man. A little bit of salsa tatemada.
A little bit.
That's a little bit. We had a really good time cooking these pollo asados for you guys, showing you the 2 types of spatchcock and the way we traditionally do it here in South Texas. We sure hope all of you, my friends, enjoyed this video. Thank you for all the nice comments. Thank you for all the shares. We really appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you're interested in APC, wow, you can get it at pitmaster.us along with the OG. OG is straight up salt, pepper, garlic. Remember, if you want to up your barbecue game, go to pitmasterclass.us. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you at the next one. Keep the smoke light, make it work, and boom, make it a wow kind of day. Boom. Oh, la la, we all right. Let's clean this grill up really good. Let's disinfect it with a little bit of onion. And when you're done cleaning the grill, you just toss it in the fire. We have 2 different styles of spatchcocked chicken. Spatchcocked chicken.
Peter Piper.
Peter Piper. Do that again. That's perfect. Perfect.